This is Inside the Locker Room, where football isn't just a game, it's a war zone. Every take, unfiltered. Every prediction, ruthless. From Sunday battles to primetime legends, we break down the matchups, the mind games, and the moments that define champions. Fantasy, film, trash talk, all inside the locker room. So if you came for smoke, you're in the fire now.
We are back with another episode of Inside the Locker Room on HBCU Central or HBCU Central Inside the Locker Room, whichever one y'all want to call it. And to a lot of y'all watching, I know it looks a little bright outside. This is kind of the earliest me and Michael have actually recorded one of these HBCU Central videos. So we should have enough time to really talk and discuss each one of our topics because we have a lot of good ones that are coming up. Shout out to, the champions of the CIA and the SWAC conference for baseball and softball. I know Michael sent me those and we got them posted on HBCU Central. So shout out to those programs. Also, as the season wraps up for baseball, make sure we're supporting our HBCUs because I know probably about one or two are going to be able to make it to the NCAA tournament and to compete. And I believe that should be Bethune and FAMU. Bethune, if I'm not mistaken, and probably whoever wins, the SWAC tournament. We got a lot of stuff coming up. And also, I'm going to say this before we start our show. Shout out to all the players that have committed to our HBCUs, high school athletes, or whatever you want to call it, seniors or freshmen now. Shout out to y'all for, seeing the vision of HBCUs, taking y'all's talents there, committing there. And me and Michael have said we will get y'all on the show. Look, all you have to do is just DM one of us and we will get it set up. We want to support the schools, but as possible. But at the same time, we want to support y'all players, to make sure y'all's name is out there and recognized because like I say this all the time, if we're going to support our HBCUs, we have to support our HBCU students and athletes because those are the ones that are making up the campus and running, the activities and the events and stuff. So, but to get this podcast or talk show started off, recently in the news, it's been a lot of teams that have been, or 3 teams that have been removed from postseason play due to, academics and stuff like that. And recently, Alabama A&M had just recently filed for, a waiver so they could appeal and play in the postseason. And let me tell you, this postseason it goes for a lot of sports. And for football, let me say this. Think of the postseason like the championship game. If you can't participate in the postseason, you can't participate in the championship game. Now, I don't know the levels it goes to for basketball and baseball, and I will get more info to that for y'all. But as of right now, I just know that what we're talking about is going to be revolving around football. And today, our first topic actually revolves around Alabama A&M. But Michael, if you want to break that down before we discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the people that don't know, Alabama A&M football will remain eligible for the 2026 postseason after successfully appealing the NCAA academic progress rate, which is APR for the people that don't know. That's NCAA academic progress rate, APR. Penalties. Despite an 897 multi-year APR causing level 2 penalty, a granted waiver prevents a postseason ban, allowing the Bulldogs to compete in the SWAC and possibly the FCS playoffs, though they face reduced practice times. Now, why is this news huge for the Alabama A&M community? I'm glad you asked. I got 4 reasons why. Stay with me. First one, championship aspirations kept alive. Why is this important? The ruling ensures, ladies and gentlemen, that the team can compete for the SWAC championship and the spot in the FCS playoffs, possibly, maintaining the excitement and school pride associated with potential championship run. Number 2, player retention and more. It avoids punishing current student athletes for academic issues that occurred under previous leadership, ensuring, watch this, they can experience the rewards of their hard work in the classroom and on the field. Number 3, avoid severe financial and recruiting loss. A postseason ban often hurts recruiting and reduces revenue, which would have been a significant blow to the program's development. But instead, watch this, the team faces only practice limitations. Number 4, last thing, boost community engagement. Why is community engagement important? Let me get to that in just a second. This is the reason Maintaining eligibility ensures the community can continue to support the team at its highest level, keeping the attendance high for games supporting the Bulldog culture. Deuce, I put Bulldog in parentheses. I mean, in quotations. But like I said, it's not just any culture, it's Bulldog culture. That's what we have to understand here. But Deuce, to finish all this, I got two more things I want to give you. Two last notes here. While the football team successfully avoided the ban, ladies and gentlemen, the university announced that the men's basketball program is facing a postseason ban due to similar APR violations. But, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, this helps the community just as much as it helps the university because Alabama A&M Athletic is and or can be a big part of the city. Which also means, Deuce, I wrote this down myself. Whatever happens to one Alabama A&M athletic program, it won't stop another sport in that university for the community to stand by, especially basketball. Regardless, Deuce, of the basketball situation with the APR violation, the football team is still another secret weapon that Alabama A&M has, by the way, that the community can stand by. Because like I just said in my first note, this helps the community just as much as it helps the university. Because I don't know if you know this is Deuce, but an HBCU is the main foundation, especially in that city or town or whatever. That is the main foundation of any community. HBCUs are one of the top, how can I put this, economic or population map, whatever you want to call it, in certain areas, in certain cities or states.
I'm gonna say this because you make a great point with that. Schools like Grambling, for instance, that are right in the country of Grambling, that is like the same way you would say like where Alabama A&M. Like, let me put it like this: all your HBCUs, and a lot of them are located out in the country. That is, your culture right then and there. So you take your athletics programs away, and they can't compete in the postseason. And yeah, they can compete in the regular season, but what does it mean if you cannot compete in the postseason? You want to give every athlete the chance, to be able to compete in the postseason for, like you said, Michael, HBCU championship, or even then an FCS playoffs. And the SWAC and the MEAC, they don't really compete in the FCS playoffs due to the Celebration Bowl, but still. And I'm gonna say this: it comes with pros and cons because FAMU and I forgot the other school, but I know FAMU is one of the other ones. Let me say this: that's why I'm gonna say this: education at the end of the day is always gonna be the most important things for any HBCU, any program, because at the end of the day, they're always gonna look back. Okay, what are the retention rates? How are these students doing well in their classes, and what are their scores? And
Right.
if those are not adding up, a lot of people who already want HBCUs gone are gonna be like this. What do they need an athletics program for if they can't even do right in the classrooms? And look, it's not necessarily saying they're not doing our HBCU students are not doing right, but more so, okay, if we see them not getting the help they need, why don't we just like help them? But at the same time, our students have to know. I'm gonna speak for here at a student at Grambling. A lot of students don't take the classes, seriously because at times professors don't care as much as the students.
Right.
So it always, I would say this with stuff like this, your academics is the most important thing. And yes, Alabama A&M got the appeal they deserved, right? But at the same time, you have to have integrity because something happens like this again. Students need to have integrity. Okay, now we see what happens if we don't take our school seriously. Because education is the main important thing when you come to college. You come to get a degree, then your programs come later. So let me say this: there's 3 SWAT schools hit with APR penalties. It's a bummer, but in the future, I would say this: use this as a stepping stone and a learning stone to not happen again. Because I'm gonna say this again: you come to school for your education, and that goes for the people watching this. That goes for students and professors. Y'all have to work together to make sure the academic level is where it should be. Because right now, I'm gonna tell you this right now: there are people that don't want HBCUs and don't see a need for HBCUs. They see it as a waste of money. And I bet you lawmakers will be quick to, with the right excuse and the right thing, the right excuses to get it gone, they will get it gone. So I would say this: the APR and stuff like that, you have to make sure your grades and your education is on track. Because let me say this, people will use that against our black students, to take their HBCUs away from, to take their programs away from them, to take their postseason eligibility away from them. Don't give them a reason to take it from them. And I'm not saying it's not all the students' fault, because students do play a role in that. Students and professors do play a role in that. Your curriculum, how hard do you really how hard do you teach them? How hard do you make them go to class? How often do you, want to see them succeed? And I'm telling you this from a student here at Grambling, because I have many professors, and I'm not trying to shame anyone, that will cancel class all semester and have it like 2 classes out of the whole year, everything else online. Students don't retain information like that. Me personally, I don't retain information like that. I have to go to class and actually learn. So I see it as a cycle. Students have to help the teachers, but the teachers have to help the students with your education. And I'm gonna keep saying this: we cannot give people a reason to take away our programs, because they're already itching for reasons to take away what we can do, because they don't see the need for it. They see that the money should go somewhere else. They say, okay, this money shouldn't go to HBCU. Maybe it should go, to like our towns or our roads, stuff like that. So, moral of the story, I'm gonna say this again: the coin goes two ways with it. Yes, you got to keep your education in track, but at the same time, don't give them a reason, to take away these postseason activities and stuff from our players. But at the same time, like I'm keep saying, our players have to be in the classrooms.
Yep, exactly. And you really just stated a valuable point. They're already trying to take HBCU's funding, academics, all the above. We saw that with Kentucky State, how they're trying to change that from an HBCU to a PWI.
Tennessee State as well. Tennessee State as well is already low in funding, and you'd be like, okay, why should we give them any more reasons, to keep taking our funding and keep pulling our program, what we can do with our programs? Look, I see it. Trust me, it's not like I'm defending, their programs, getting taken. I mean, they're getting hit with the APR penalties, but at the same time, I can see where it comes from, because as a student at these HBCUs, students don't be taking their education seriously at an HBCU converted to how they would do at a PWI, and it goes both ways. The teachers, the professors don't drill, your education, your lecture, and lecture you like how they would do at a PWI. Michael, I can tell you this off the dome, bro. Your professors would probably, a lot of students that if they were to go from Grambling to Tech, would not benefit well at Tech, just due to how comfortable they got in here learning at Grambling. Teachers cancel classes all the time here at Grambling. Students rarely learn. I hate to say it to you, but it's a lot of times where students are going weeks without learning and getting the education they deserve. And this is what happens. Your APR penalties get backed up. And I keep saying this: I'm not defending the students, but I see it from two sides of the coin as a student at the HBCU.
Yep. And dudes, I'm gonna tell you this right here, and I don't even know if you know this or not, but I sent you this a few days ago, that HBCUs are skyrocketing academically because a lot of students are now going to HBCUs than other schools. That is also a good thing. Not only is it good for the university, but it's also good for the community, because the community follows behind the university, whatever location that, like you said, Grambling, like you said, Southern in Baton Rouge, Fairview A&M in Dallas, Texas.
All cornered. You can go all.
Jackson State in Jackson, Mississippi. They already have set the foundation record straight over there in their own area, in their own city. The mayor has already. They're I don't even know if this is true or not, but they're already trying to figure out new stadium renovation plans for the Jackson State Stadium. Dudes, HBCUs are skyrocketing at a high level. Let me put it like that. But I can tell you this: education is just as important as it is athletic wise. But education is way more important than athleticism.
Because you know why? That degree will get you farther after your professional career.
Yes.
Why do you think our bigger name players like J.R. Smith, are going back to school? They understand where it's. And shout out to J.R. Smith, for getting his degree from North Carolina A&T. But let me say this: you go farther in your in your academic career after your professional career, because it's always that degree will get you farther. Where after I'm gonna say a lot of people got their own opinions on it. I believe after professional career, you have a degree, you're set after your professional career. You have something else to go do. And, we got players that are FBI agents. We got players that are, that work brands and businesses. And Michael, you are right, because HBCUs are skyrocketing. Alabama A&M just had the largest freshman class that they ever have had this year.
Yep.
But let me say this: your education is important, and they have to stay in these classrooms. And I just feel like, I feel like at times, bro, I do feel like here at times students and athletes can get carried away with going to class.
Yep.
And let me say this: it gets real easy. You miss one class in college, you next thing you know, you miss 4 classes in a row. That's how easy it is.
Yep.
So I'm gonna keep saying this. I see it from both sides of the coin, but it's a great thing that Alabama A&M was to appeal this and be able to compete in postseason play, because it'd be a bummer for a lot of freshmen and incoming transfers to be come here and be like, oh, what are we even competing for? We just playing the regular season. Like, I'm gonna say this for FAMU, I feel bad for them. They're under a new head coach, a head coach that has promised to take them to the Celebration Bowl, win them, and they can't even compete in the postseason this year because their APR penalty, and they did not get to appeal it like Alabama A&M. So it's different for them.
And you see that's the point that I just made not too long ago. Under new leadership, they can't exceed in their expectations because of the past leadership that they had, dude. Like this all falls under the past leadership that was under this team.
And that's
So
why
now the new leadership that comes in,
they have
can't
to.
exceed expectations.
They have to instill going to class. They have to instill getting these APR scores up, because if they're not up, you see what happens. Now you see what happens. You got, they just use these people. They use FAMU as an example for HBCUs. If anything, that should put HBCUs on notice. Okay, our academics is way more important than just coming here to play football.
Right.
I'm gonna say that. But when the time comes around and they do get it fixed under Coach Gray at FAMU, I will bet you 100. I bet you anything he be instilling going to class. Deion Sanders, Michael, I bet you at Jackson State, was he telling them boys miss a class? No. You miss a class, he gonna find out, and you're getting it at practice.
And you saw how he disciplined his players every time they missed practice or they did not meet the certain GPA academic. It's all about disciplining these players, dude. And that's what a certain HBCUs, not a lot of HBCUs, but that's what a lot of people have specifically said. I can only speak for Grambling, but I can specifically tell you that there have been a lack of discipline in certain amount of players at certain HBCUs. Not at every HBCU, but at certain ones. Dudes, that makes a valid point. That discipline is so important in the athletic world. If you cannot discipline your players and you're letting your players control you and your leadership as a coach, then that tells you two things. One, you can't control these players, and two, you are bound to have a losing season, because if you can't control your players, you cannot control your season. Bottom line, I know people are probably going to disagree with that, but dudes, when you don't have discipline, my dad used to tell me this all the time as a kid. When a coach cannot discipline his players, he cannot control his season. And his season, when a coach can't control his team, he's not bound to be head coach. You got to have, and it ain't got to be a Hall of Famer. It just got to be somebody well known that is very important on discipline, that is very important on winning, and is very important in these players going to the classroom. Because you can't just be a coach and think this is all about football. This ain't just about football, and I know a lot of coaches know that, and I know a lot of people know that. But what I'm saying here is that education is just as important as being a football player, basketball player, softball player, baseball player, soccer. I can go all above with this, dude. But discipline is the rule of law in the sports world. And if you don't think so, and you got your dudes, I know a lot of people probably got their own definition on how a team is supposed to be discipline wise or winning wise. I know a lot of people, but dudes, growing up, I was always taught that discipline is the main important key on setting the foundation of a winning football or basketball sport, really sport in general program. And if you don't have that main discipline thing, then it's gonna benefit how your season goes. It's not. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I'm not saying that teams that don't have discipline they can't win. No, we've seen teams that don't have discipline still be a winning team. But what I'm saying is that a lot of players end up in jail. A lot of players end up on academic probation. A lot of players end up on. There are some HBCUs who are on curfew,
And
especially in certain events and situations.
I always give credit to Dion for this. His discipline set the foundation for Jackson State, Colorado,
Yeah,
and it's whether you like it or
you
not.
don't you don't have to be a Hall of Fame coach. You don't have to be you don't have to be nothing as long as you are a coach.
That
Because
can
Mickey Joseph, he's not a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer, but you can tell he is disciplining his players
exactly,
more and more as the season goes along.
and that
And
is
he's
exactly why the GPA average for Grambling Athletics is over a 3.0. That is exactly why discipline. We tell our student athletes all the time, go to class.
at every sport, not even just in football. Coach Courtney Simmons, who's the girls' head basketball, they're at 3.0 rate. Patrick Query, in his first season, the guys that he just brought in were on a three. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to be a Hall of Fame or a big time person to set the foundation of discipline on your team. That you don't have to be that as long as you are a coach that knows how to discipline your players and not letting your players control you. Because, Deuce, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people are now saying that this generation is something else. We can't tell these kids nothing. These kids do what they want to do. And dude, that's why I'm gonna say this. And I hate to say this, but that's why a lot of teachers, professors, and bosses at certain work businesses don't respect young black folks like me or you. It's because of how we act out in public and how we act on campus. Because dude, there have been some students who have gotten in trouble just on campus by the university police department or professors. And I know it's true. I don't have to research that because I know it's happening. It's reality. It's called life. Not every student is perfect. Not and you know that. Dudes, you know that. Because I'm pretty sure that there have been some rambling students who have gotten themselves in a little bit of situation, but by the grace of God, they've been able to get themselves out of it. Dudes, regardless of you being an athlete, coach, or whatever. But as a coach, if you can't even discipline yourself as a coach, then you can't discipline your players. And that's a huge blow because a coach is a leader. But a leader is what if a leader has discipline, then he can set the foundation for many other people. That's like a politician. That's like a teacher. That's like a pastor at a church. If you can discipline your people, if you can teach them the right way in many different categories and take care of your people and your students, then that goes a long way. Then that goes the successful rate goes up. It's all about discipline. Discipline is how you make it. I don't care about the age or none of that. I'm 25 years old, dudes, and I am probably one of the most disciplined young people on this earth because I know how to control myself in decisions. Despite of that, and I know I still got a long way to go. But by the grace of God, I had parents who put me in the right state of mind. I got God on my side, dudes, who even helped me with the right state of mind. So it's really all about how you control yourself as an athlete, student, professor, coach, mayor, or whatever. It's all about how you control yourself. And when you control yourself, that'll transition on to the people that's listening to you, the people that you're teaching, and the players that you're coaching. Discipline is huge foundation on success, not just in sports, but in life itself. And if you can discipline yourself, not only will God be pleased with you, but that means whatever obstacle come your way, you know how to make a decision for yourself as a human being. And that's
Agreed.
what I got to say about that.
And I'm gonna say this, close it out. Discipline gets you a far way in life, and I'm always gonna stay true to this. Discipline is the foundation of how programs are built. But the next topic I do want to talk about is Norfolk basketball coach. They're offering to pay D1 opponents for home games. let me say this. When I first read that, I was like, having to pay somebody to come play you, to me, I feel like you shouldn't take, you know, a coach having to pay other programs to come, play our HBCUs. But I don't know. This is just a topic that kind of has me like, wow, like that's something you probably would never read. A coach
Hmm.
really paying for other programs. And I'm gonna say this, Michael. We always say it shouldn't take stuff like that, for programs to see the competition level. And the competition may not be the D1 competition level may not be the same at Norfolk compared to your other schools. But a D1 school is still a D1 school, and it
Right.
shouldn't take having to pay large sums of having to pay opponents for them to come play them at home. But Michael, I'm gonna let you break this down.
Well, first and foremost, dude, you made a valid point that you should not have to pay a Division One opponent to play at your home venue. First of all, it shouldn't even get to that point. But dude, before I even
I'm,
give you my opinion
Hold on,
on
let
it,
me say this real quick. I understand for programs like your bigger programs like Auburn, Alabama, you're trying to get smaller schools, but Norfolk having to pay somebody a D1 program to come play them at their home court,
yeah,
it's always gonna be it's gonna be pros and cons to it because it shouldn't happen. But if he does end up paying somebody, they do come look. We get another D1 opponent other than a SWAC and MEAC or a smaller school on our HBCU campus. We rarely see that, and that could be
yep,
good for exposure for our HBCU campuses. But Michael, the mic's yours.
yeah. First and foremost, this, ladies and gentlemen, for the people that don't know what we're talking about here, let me break it down for you. Norfolk State men's basketball head coach Robert Jones made headlines on May 4, 2026, by publicly offering to pay up to $10,000 to any Division One opponent willing to play. Sorry, at a game at Joseph G. Eccles Memorial Hall. First and foremost, before I even give you the breakdown on this, $10,000 to a Division One opponent. It's crazy work. It's crazy work. But before
And they're
we even
not
get
even as big as Alabama and Auburn, and they're paying people to come.
not even close, not even close. But ladies and gentlemen, the key details to this offer. Let me break this down for you. The incentive of it. Deuce Jones is offering to start a home series and will pay opposing team up to $10,000 to play in Norfolk first. Second, double down. That's why I put parentheses. Deuce opportunity. Following Joseph's post, Virginia State University, which is, by the way, Deuce, a Division II program, athletic director Tiffany Dawn Skice, if I remember saying her last name correctly, I apologize if I don't. If I did, added a twist. Watch this. If a Division One HBCU agrees to the game at Norfolk State, she will pay that team another $20,000. Hold on. Pause for a quick. Hold on. I gotta read that one more time. She will pay that team $20,000 to add a game against Virginia State during the same trip.
Mind you,
20,
Virginia State is not even a Division 1 school. That is a Division 2 school.
Division Two, and she's offering $20,000. It sounds good money, but it's crazy
It just
work.
it looks like now we're at the point in my eyes. It seems like okay, that stuff like that just makes me think. Okay, are our HBCUs getting desperate? You know, for to play somebody, and
Power four, power five. It seemed like it. Because if you offer $20,000, $10,000, really $30,000, I wish was.
I got look. I have
I
no
really,
issue. I have no issue with HBCUs playing your Power Four and your G5 school. I have no issue. It's the fact you got to come out of large sums of bread for them to come to our home stadium. And let me say this. Okay, yes, it's probably gonna take some money to get your bigger schools to come to us, but 10,000 to come play on it. Look, I'm gonna say this. I I've always been a firm believer. If you're a Division 1 school and you can compete in a Division 1 NCAA tournament, why not
mhm.
have that bigger school just go to that school?
Why not?
Because y'all gonna be playing on the same. If they all make the same tournament come April, March, y'all all gonna be playing on the same court. So
Really?
is it like in my eyes? I see it's like I know like stadium, like school size, in that all plays a factor. But if we're playing on a home court that If we're playing on a home court that is not, a Power 4 or Power 5 school, why do we have to pay that large sums of bread, for them to come play it? I've always said this. For football, it's one thing because you have your FBS and FCS, although they're all Division 1.
Yeah.
Basketball, bro, Division 1, we see HBCUs come and upset your big schools all the time at their home court. So why can't they come play us on our home court?
Because dudes, they rather play at their home venue because one that's gonna look right on television wise, and one it's not gonna look right score wise. That's why they don't want to play HBCUs at an HBCU venue. I don't care about the school size or arena or stadium size. Dudes, all they're worried about, and I think the media is worried about, is that if a Power Five, Power Four school goes to an HBCU and plays at HBCU, it's going to be exciting for sure. The student section is going to be there, the band's going to be there, the alumni is going to be there. But do they fear that HBCUs can't compete with these Power Four, Power Five schools, like when HBCUs, for example, goes and play Ohio State, or goes and plays Arizona State, or goes and plays TCU, or goes and plays Oklahoma, or goes and plays Oklahoma State. But dudes, that's what this is. They don't want HBCUs are getting embarrassed at their own home venue. But like you just said, HBCUs have currently upset Power 4 and Power 5 schools. So why is it that if an HBCU can go to your venue, why can't you come to ours? Because not only because we're offering you to experience HBCU culture, we bring our band along to give y'all halftime shows, do we not? So what's the problem with your team coming here? I get it. Your team is
And
ranked.
it's
I
and
get it.
it's probably we all know there's more behind the scenes stuff like this. It's a lot of behind the stuff. I say this all the time. It's more behind the scenes that you notice. It's more political stuff behind the scenes. It's a lot to do with it. And look, the average person would say, okay, a Power 4, Power 5 school is too big to come play on the HBCU. But in my head, I've always just thought about this. If they're playing on the same court come March, like Prairie View and Florida was, why for just one game couldn't Florida come, like hypothetically, couldn't Florida come down and play at Prairie View A&M? And yes, look, the stadium may not be big enough, for
It ain't got to do it.
but let me say this. I'm gonna say this. I throw that out the window because I see other conferences in basketball that are like the same size as HBCUs that don't even have football programs that can still at least generate some D1 schools to come to their school. It may not be the biggest D1 school, but it's still another D1 school. I'm saying this. I am tired of HBCUs only having to travel everywhere to go play other D1 schools aside from their own HBCU schools. The only time HBCUs host opponents at their schools, and I kid you not, it's either when they're playing an HBCU or they're playing a Division 2 or Division 3 school. And
Yep.
Michael, we've already had that talk a whole while ago that they need to eliminate, playing these lower conference games, because it doesn't help them with their strength of schedule.
Exactly. It doesn't really help them. It's a lack of competition. But do stadium size, university size, community size, it don't matter. It's really all about the athletic competition at these HBCUs. These HBCUs deserve just as much as competition at their venue, just like these Power Five and Power Four schools are. But dudes, like I just said, it's probably not going to make sense to anybody for one reason. One, because of the fact it saves HBCU's embarrassment. That's what a lot of these Power Four, Power Five schools, sports media is all this narrow thinking, and I probably some alumni thinking that as well. Those there are some Power Four, Power Five schools that are ranked, that are very popular in the college football world, that have a huge name for themselves. They don't want to see these big Power Five, Power Four schools go to these HBCUs and embarrass HBCUs in their own home venue. But Deuce, what I'm saying here is that what I want HBCUs to start doing is playing teams at their level. Kind of like how, if you remember, Grambling starting off their first two conference games with a very good competition HBCU kind of level. That's what we're trying to say here, ladies and gentlemen. Is that if you're gonna get a Power Four, Power Five school to come to your venue, which has happened before, because dudes, if I remember correctly, Grambling basketball team they brought a Power 4, Power 5 school down to Raleigh. It was Rice, as a matter of fact, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Came there, played them. The competition was there, even though later in the fourth quarter, Rice pulled away. But it wasn't like they was embarrassing in the whole game, dude, because the student section was behind them, and they fed off that. So that, that's if there's pros and cons to why bringing Power 4 Power 5 schools to HBCU is a good thing, why it's not a good thing. Honestly, in my opinion, you cannot compare a size to a university and think that the competition isn't there. Size at a university does not matter. It does not determine the athletic program. And I think that's what a lot of people are getting things confused on. They're even looking at HBCU athletic facilities and not considering them as a huge threat. But like Bethune-Cookman did with Auburn, now you're starting to see that regardless of the lack of athletic facilities, regardless of the lack of roster numbers compared to Power 4, Power 5 school, there's competition here. There's competition at HBCU. But there's nothing wrong with a Power 4, Power 5 school coming to an HBCU and experiencing in it. I mean, you got players from Power 4, Power 5 schools transferring to HBCUs. I mean, unless they're transferring for many different reasons or NIL purpose. But there's been a lot of players who transferred to HBCUs and was like, man, I wish I would have saw this a long time ago. Now they're starting to see. But this is a great adventure. This is a great adventure for Power 4 Power 5 schools to witness HBCU culture at its own venue and not HBCUs traveling there. I get it. You want to say the embarrassment. I get it. It's not necessary for any HBCU alumni or student or player or coach to bring a Power 4 Power 5 school to their own home stadium and get embarrassed. What I'm saying here is that there's nothing wrong with one Power 4 Power 5 school or HBCU because honestly, the SWAC has eliminated that. So now it's all HBCU Division 1, Division 2 competition now, which I think is great. It's
Same.
great because it's better television watching. Let me put it like that. Because dude, I told you before, when Grambling was playing Ohio State, I already knew it was gonna happen. And I didn't even bother watching the game because I knew. Even watching highlights, I knew. Dude, HBCUs need to play competition wise. SWAC need to play the MEAC. The MEAC can play the SWAC. The MEAC can play the CIAA conference. The CIAA conference can play the CIAC conference or whatever conference. Doesn't matter. It just needs to be competition. But there's the reason for the Norfolk situation, and we're gonna circle back to that. Norfolk is a high-performing mid-major program with NCAA tournament appearances in 2021, 2022, and 2025. Because of their success, though, many top-tier programs are recurrent to schedule them, especially the Spartans on the Spartans home court. Here's the historical context behind it. This reverse guarantee, that's why I put parentheses game, is highly unconventional. Typically, large Power 4 schools pay smaller programs, HBCUs, and mid-majors, that's why I put parentheses, to play by games on the larger school's home court. That's the historical context behind it. But Deuce, to sum all this up, this public call to action highlights the ongoing scheduling challenges faced by successful HBCU programs trying to build competitive non-conference resumes, without spending the entire months of November and December on the road. Dude, if you look at every single HBCU basketball or football or softball, whatever schedule, their first few games in November or December or October, whatever, they play on the road at these Power 4, Power 5 schools. Like I said in historical context, I'm going to read again for the people that don't understand or didn't even hear what I just said. Mic check. This reverse guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, game is highly unconventional. Typically, larger Power Four schools pay smaller programs, HBCUs, and mid majors to play by games on larger schools' home court. That's the historical context behind all this. But like I said, the reasoning Norfolk State is a performing mid major program with three NCAA tournament appearances. So I can understand why the Spartans want to schedule them, especially on the Spartans' home court, dude. Because I mean, the Spartans are a mid-high performing program who
And I'm
deserve competition in their own home court. And I don't blame Norfolk State, but paying $20,000, $10,000
that's
shouldn't.
just and you
It
know
shouldn't.
my teacher told me this with HBCU basketball because it's happened many times before. An HBCU program will get so good that your bigger schools will get scared to schedule them because they're scared of that upset that may happen, on their own home court. We saw with Auburn. I mean, almost lose to Bethune. But I mean, I can understand, that reasoning. They want scheduling. They want opponents to come to their home court. It- Overall, when you play your season, your schedule is supposed to be your resume for the postseason.
Yeah,
Home wins, that's good for your resume. You have home
right,
wins against higher D1 opponents, that's good. But I'm gonna say this: it's gonna come in time and place where HBCUs are gonna eventually, and I'm praying that HBCUs eventually take that leap in sports again to where they get
mhm,
back to that level they used to be. Because there was a time where people were scared to schedule Grambling's own women's basketball team a couple years ago when they made it to the NCAA tournament. It was like years ago, and nobody went to schedule them. But it shouldn't take a coach coming out to say, "Okay, we'll pay you to come play on our home court," if they're
right,
not getting those games scheduled. Because team, like you said, Michael, the Spartans are a good team, and if they're not getting scheduled actual teams and they're playing, I'm not like if they're playing lower quality teams, what does that do for your resume come postseason time?
right.
That's where I'm gonna leave it at. But to jump on to our next topic, Michael, the SWAC is ending regular season play, and the you told me this, the softball and baseball tournaments are starting up. Um, Let me pull it up. We did just have. Hold up, give me like 2 seconds, y'all. We did just actually have a couple of winners, and because me and Michael posted it.
Yeah.
Shout out to your SEAC baseball champions, Edward Water University down in Florida. Shout out to them, and then shout out to the CIA softball champions in Claflin University. Shout out to what y'all have done on this season. Keep doing great. Keep keep showing the positive light to HBCUs. That's how I want to put it. Keep shining that positive light to HBCUs because what they did this summer on the field and off the field is incredible, and you only continue to build from that. And
Yeah.
anytime your school wins a conference championship, that's good exposure for our HBCUs. So I'm gonna ask the people that follow us, please promote our championship graphics because we do want to show love to Edward Waters and Claflin University. Those are two small HBCUs if you don't know that, and we actually had the honor to what's called interview one of our players from Edward Waters University at the time before she did transfer. So just shout out to what they're doing over there in their program because Edward Waters has actually been a lot in the media in the HBCU world, and Claflin University as well is just now getting up there. So shout out to them. But jumping to the SWAC side of things, Michael.
Yeah, dude. So, to give everyone a rundown about the SWAC softball and baseball tournament, for the people that don't know, it is happening, especially in the softball. But as of May of 18, ladies and gentlemen, the SWAC softball tournament is reaching its dramatic conclusion in Gulfport, Mississippi. While the SWAC baseball regular season is ending to finalize the bracket for its upcoming tournament, SWAC softball tournament recap. Now, watch this, ladies and gentlemen. The tournament is currently in the championship round. Dudes. Championship matchup: Florida A&M versus the Southern Lady Jaguars. Dudes, that's going to be a very competitive, very probably low scoring softball matchup because these two teams have faced each other before, in the regular season, and the competition is there. Um, Southern has definitely made some noise, especially with the win streak that they have. Florida A&M has made some noise in their softball regular season play. So that's the championship matchup for us and for the people that are watching right now on this recording to look forward to. Florida A&M Lady Rattlers versus the Southern Lady Jaguars. The reason why is that Florida A&M, first of all, this is their path. This is their path, and I wrote this down. The number one seed Rattlers advanced directly to the final by defeating number three Texas Southern, who was also coming in hot, by the way, 3-2 on Thursday, May 7th. Deuce, they are seeking their first SWAC title in program history. Southern staff, after falling to Florida A&M early in the winners bracket, the Lady Jaguars survived three straight elimination games, including a 7-3 win over Alabama State and a 2-0 shootout of Texas Southern on Friday morning, May 8th. Now, here's the current status. Southern must defeat Florida A&M twice in the championship series Friday afternoon to claim the title, which is today, ladies and gentlemen, Friday afternoon today, to claim the title, while Florida A&M only needs one win. Now, jump to the SWAC baseball tournament preview. The regular season is concluding this week to determine the 18th field for the tournament at Rickwood Field in Birmingham from May 20th through the 24th. Now, here are the top contenders. Bethune-Cookman, I'm pretty sure you know that already, currently leads the conference with a 19-5 SWAC record, which I'm not surprised because after the historic regular season that they've had, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, Deuce, if they actually make some noise in this tournament. It'd probably be a huge problem for some teams.
And I'll tell you this real quick, Michael. I wouldn't even be surprised if Bethune-Cookman makes it to the NCAA tournament, to compete for baseball. The season that they've had, Michael, is one of the most historic seasons in baseball I've seen in a long time.
Exactly why. That's exactly why I call it the historic regular season, because they actually put themselves on a huge foundation. And first of all, I think they possibly ended up getting ranked, if I remember correctly from the news that I heard.
I can check really quick. Let me just give me 1 second. If they're not ranked, they're just right outside the rankings. But I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
I
think if I remember reading correctly, they were in discussion of being ranked.
Yeah, they were in discussion. Like they were on the outside of being ranked. If they're right, they're in the top 25, and then if you look under it, their names right there to receive the votes to get into the top 25. I guarantee, I bet you this, and I will hope that if they do pull off and win their tournament, they get ranked because that is what they deserve.
They do. But the team on fire, ladies and gentlemen, for the SWAC baseball tournament preview is Southern University men's baseball team. Deuce, they enter the postseason as one of the hottest teams in the nation, currently riding a 12-game conference win streak. The key series, though, last thing I'm going to say for the SWAC baseball side, Alabama State is hosting Bethune-Cookman May 8th through the 10th in a series that will likely decide the number one seed for the Eastern Division. So, Deuce, as far as the softball goes, Florida A&M and Southern, that's the championship matchup. Baseball-wise, SWAC baseball-wise, Bethune-Cookman is currently leads the conference 9-5. Team on fire, Southern University, and key series Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman. That will decide the number one seed on that East Division. So, Deuce, I don't know how this afternoon is going to go, but Deuce, the Florida A&M only needs one win to Southern's two. Excuse me, in the championship game. Like I just stated before, they already failed the Florida A&M early in the winners bracket. Okay, the Lady Jaguars survived three straight elimination games. which is crazy work. But that also tells you
The
that
team they are. That is a team with full of grit and grind. That they.
yes, that team is not going to settle down for long. They might lose, but dudes, they survived three, not two, but three straight elimination games. So this is redemption for them because this is a revenge game for Southern Lady Jaguar softball team if you think about it. So I hope that they can succeed in their expectations because it's not going to be easy to beat a team twice. You've already lost to them. So and I hate to say this, but it's kind of on the easier side for the A&M before the A&M must take advantage of that because they only need one win to beat the champions, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Southern needs two, which is going to be kind of difficult. But like I said, if Florida A&M does not capitalize on their opportunity and take advantage of this one game, dude, Southern Lake Jaguars could be the next SWAC champions. Yeah, and that's just what it is. So it's really just all about for A&M controlling this series. Can they get one win and be SWAC champions, or will Southern just be that team that have gotten themselves out of three straight troubles and got to the championship game? Which, by the way, that is a huge turnaround. And I know it might not be a huge thing for some people, but it's huge to me because when you lose in the winners bracket and you go in the elimination games and you win three straight and now you're in the championship game, that is a huge redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Because that also there's still hope, there's still life that you
Their
can win this.
backs, their backs were against the wall. You mentioned they were in the losers bracket. Their backs were against the wall.
And they got three and they escaped three times. Not
Mhm.
two, not one, but three times. But the toughest part here really, dudes, is they have to win two games to Florida A&M only have to win one. So that's kind of, and I know that probably don't make sense, but that's just what a lot of articles and a lot of that's just what the rules are in the SWAC softball tournament side. That's just what that is. Now I don't know. I know a lot of people are like, well, why do they have to win um, uh, two games and all they have to do is just win one and oh bam, they're SWAC champions. It doesn't really work like that because one, they're in the losers bracket, and I wish that I can explain that as much as I possibly can. But for the sake of time, I can't really do that. But what I can tell you is that yes, it is tougher. Yes, it might not seem fair, and I agree. But ladies and gentlemen, at the same time, respectfully, maybe it's just not supposed to. This is just the rules of the SWAC softball side. That's just the rules of the tournament. If you are in the losers bracket, you have to play in elimination games. If you win, great, you make it to the SWAC championship. But you have to beat that team that's in the winner bracket twice. I would break that down as much as possible, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that. But that's just what the rules are. But like I said, Deuce, it is very important for both sides. It's important for the A&M because you only have to win one time, and you're SWAC champions. For Southern, you have to win two times to be SWAC champions. So that's just what this is. This is the championship series. This is no championship game. This is a series.
Mhm.
So that's just what this is. And it's supposed to happen today, Deuce. That's the current stats right now. Friday afternoon, which is today.
Yep.
Florida A&M only needs to win one, and Southern must defeat Florida A&M twice in the championship series. So hopefully, one of these teams can take care of their responsibilities and take advantage. But I'm really hoping that Southern can possibly take care of this, and I hope that Florida A&M can take care of this as well. So whoever wins this series, congratulations to you. Congratulations, especially for Southern and Florida A&M for the success that they've had this regular season.
And I'm gonna say
But
this. I was gonna
no,
say this
go
really quick as my last point, and then I don't have anything else to say. You know, as a Graham fan, you want to hate as much as you do. You want to hate on Southern, but you really can't. But their softball team has literally done this whole season and then did in this postseason. That's just something that you have to be recognized on. And I'm gonna say this, shout out to Southern, because what they've been doing across their athletics programs has been incredible this season. Aside from football, your women's, they go over there and they do what they do for basketball. Your baseball team rallies late in the season to get higher in the rankings. Your softball team is going to the championship game. If I'm a Southern, I'm saying this, okay, we've done good in all aspects of sports this year. And in my eyes, we got a new head coach in Marshall Falk. If I'm Southern, a lot of alumni should be happy that they're starting to track back to where they were previous seasons. But that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and Deuce, I'm gonna basically tell you this to end this show off. You basically congratulated Edward Waters and Kaplan University for their success. First of all, let me give my massive shout out to both universities. Congratulations to both of y'all. This first shout out goes to Edward Waters University, EWU Tigers. For the people that don't know, Edward Waters University is EWU Tigers. They officially captured the 2026 SIAC Baseball Tournament Championship on May 4, 2026, with a hard-fought 6-4 victory over top-seeded Spring Hill College at a historic Luther Williams Field in Macon, Georgia. The championship highlights this a historic run. The number 3 seeded Tigers went a perfect 4-0, 4-0 in the tournament play and entered the final on an 11-game win streak. Sorry, y'all, I can't really talk today. Key performers, Adris, I don't know how to say the last name. Kari Kilo, I believe I'm saying that name right. I do apologize if I'm not pronouncing that. Was named the tournament MVP, while Bobby Torres delivered a clutch performance in the final with 2 hits and 3 RBIs. Milestone victory, dude. This marks the program's second SIAC crown in the last 3 seasons. Correct? Congratulations to y'all again. Coaching legacy. Dudes, during this historic season, head coach Reginald Johnson surpassed 400 career victories. Shout out to Coach Johnson on his success this year. What's next for the Tigers? I'm glad you asked. Watch this. With this victory, Edward Waters has secured the SIAC's automatic bid to the NCAA Division II South Regional Tournament. Selection show. The team is now awaiting the official seating announcement during the NCAA selection show on Sunday, May 10, 2026. Make sure y'all tune in for that, because today is tonight. That is tomorrow for Mother's Day. And first of all, shout out to all the mothers out there. Shout out to my mother, who is also watching this. Shout out to you and all the success that you've given me over the years. And Deuce, I will say this: shout out to your mom and Adam and Ben. Shout out to both of your parents for the amazing leadership and all the love that they have given to all of us over the years. But to finish this off, the regional start. The NCAA tournament is scheduled to begin on Thursday, May 14th. So, dudes, that's what's next for the Tigers. But like you just said, congratulations to y'all. And congratulations to Coach Justin on 400 career success victories. That is a huge milestone as a coach to be able to do, especially at an HBCU. Now, the next shout out I want to give out. Shout out to Catholic University Lady Panthers on an incredible season. They were indeed crowned the 2026 CIAA Southern Division champions after a dominant regular season where they went undefeated in division play with a 10-0 record, and here's the shocker, 15-1 overall in the conference. The latest tournament update on May 8, 2026. The Lady Panthers are currently carrying the momentum into the CIAA Softball Championship Tournament in Orangeburg, South Carolina. The opening round. As the top seed from the South, Kaplan opened up the tournament on Thursday, May 7th, with a commanding 10-2 victory over Lincoln, Pennsylvania. Winners bracket. They continued their streak later that day with a 12-6 win over Bluefield State, advancing further into the winners bracket. Last thing, dudes, championship stakes. The tournament is double elimination with the final championship game scheduled for Saturday, May 9th at 1 p.m., which is tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you get ready for that. Um, and I realized what I said before. My computer is a little ahead because actually today is May 8th, and not May 9th. So I apologize for that error right there. But last thing, individual honors. Thus, the team's success was also reflected in the 2026 All CIAA honors announced this week, with six Panthers named All Conference teams. Um, for the sake of time, I'm not going to try to announce those names, um, but we're not. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Nia Jackson, uh, Janiyah O. Williams, Lauren Foster, and Michaela uh, Marty. I believe I said that name correctly. I apologize if I didn't, ladies and gentlemen. Not very good with names. Neither of us are. So if we mispronounce your name, please don't feel offended. Uh, just let it know. Just let it know in the comments because how we pronounce it is probably different, especially if you know that individual way better than we do. Second team dudes, Caitlin Grismom, uh, Ariana Mendoz, and then all rookie team. Yeah, Ariana Meadows. I believe I'm saying said her last name correctly. In other news for the university, Kaplan baseball team is also just captured the inaugural 2026. Oh wait, my iPad made an error. But they also captured an inaugural an event 2026 dudes. Let me see if my iPad kind of cut that off. Let me see if I can try to find it for you. Give me just a second.
All good.
Um, Okay. Okay, yeah, here it is. Yeah, they captured the inaugural 2026 CIA Baseball Series Championship on May 7th with a 24-0 win over Virginia State. Like I said, I do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. My iPad had kind of cut that last piece off. But yes, I'll say it again. In other news for the university, Kaplan baseball team also just captured the inaugural 2026 CIA Baseball Series Championship on May 7th with a massive 24-0 win over Virginia State. So shout out to both of you HBCU programs. Shout out to the Lady Panthers over there at Clark University. No, I'm sorry, Kaplan University. For your amazing success. You guys made a historic run this year. You put HBCUs at a very high notice competitive wise. Um, I hope that you all can continue this success going into this year. And shout out to Edward Waters as well for your amazing academic and athletics uh, program this year, especially for the baseball tournament. We hope that you guys continue to succeed at a very high level going into this year. So congratulations to Edward Waters University baseball team, and shout out to Kaplan University for their amazing success this year. Shout out to both of those HBCUs. And if you
Agreed.
are an alumni or a student, please spread your support to your HBCU in the comments because, like I said, we're here for all HBCUs in the HBCU world. So yes, I keep saying it. I'm proud of both of these organizations. I'm proud to announce that, and I hope that you know, especially for Edward Waters in the tournament championship, uh, that they make some noise in the NCAA tournament whenever that time comes when they find out who they're playing, and we will let y'all know for the people that don't know nothing about either one of these HBCUs who they will be playing, and we'll give our opinions on that. But
Agree.
that's kind of all I have to say, dudes. But once again, I will say shout out to Edward Waters University and shout out to Kathleen Lady Panthers on both of their success this season. And we hope to see more of that and many more HBCUs at each of these conferences and with these head coaches.
Agreed. And basically the message of all this whole episode, support our HBCUs. I think that's the message of every episode. Support our HBCUs and support our no, my fault. Support our HBCU students. Let me say this really quick. Stay tuned because one thing about HBCUs, compared to your other sports is I lose never die. It's something new each day. And the fact that we can just go and pick from different HBCU schools to talk about, just stay tuned. As the summer rolls around, we will be talking more football. We will be talking more off-season sports. And if you like us diving into, the general HBCU topics that we have been doing, like HBCU education, HBCU graduation, stuff like that, just keep letting us know and we will continue to talk about it. Our DMs are still open if any guest wants to join. All me and Michael ask is if you confirm your availability a day before and the day of, and we'll be able to get you down. Me and Michael also have we've come to agreement that we will also be doing more solo uh episodes with just me and him, so we can get like how we used to do it during the season. But that does not mean if you're an athlete or a coach that y'all can't come on to the show. We reached 311 followers on Instagram. Stay tuned for a graphic later. I just been really busy, so I haven't been able to make it, but it's in my canvas, so I just gotta post it. Um, Make sure y'all stay tuned to all their HBCU updates. The ball will be getting back rolling. I'm out of school officially, so I have all the free time in the world aside from my job to help promote our HBCU content. But also, like with that being said, support our Inside the Locker Room content as well. Because if me and Michael don't say it enough, our HBCU content is also to help the Inside the Locker Room. What we're doing over there, we're at 699 followers over there on Instagram. We're one away from 700. So what we're doing over there on both platforms are pretty well. um, what else? Let me make sure I didn't have any other news. Yeah, follow our YouTube, follow our Instagram, follow our TikTok if you haven't. I know Adam runs our TikTok, so if you haven't, follow those and make sure you're liking our reels and liking and reposting our reels. It means a lot and it goes a long way. Recently, I think I just posted like four clips of you talking, Michael, HBCU and Saints topics. So to our viewers watching that, make sure you support our co-hosts and follow, support the content, support all of our stuff, and we'll support y'all right back. Me and my very giving back. We want to see everybody succeed, and
Yeah,
really most our HBCU succeed because that is the most important goal to me. I don't have I say this really quick because before I close this out, stay tuned because me and Michael, we do record weekly, so we'll most likely get an episode out next week. And also, if you're trying to book with us, me and Michael do not record on Wednesdays. We have permanently blocked that off as yes, we have blocked that off as days that we do not record. So you can catch us Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is kind of pushing it because Sunday I kind of like to have my family time. But
yeah,
if you really want to get an interview with us and we can't find you a date, we can squeeze you into like a later Sunday block in the evening.
yeah,
But
yeah.
with all
Because
that being
Sundays,
said, just yes,
yeah, because Sundays are very personal to me. Like I said, I'm a very church guy, so I like to have my church time and also family time later on. But I do not mind squeezing in any time for any of our guests. 'Cause like I said, I'm willing to help any. We are willing to help any HBCU player or coach that actually wants to come to our show and be a part of this sports show. Because and first and foremost, Deuce, let me also say this just came up in the back of my mind, but this also has been in the back of my mind for a while. I'm thinking about making a Facebook page for Inside the Locker Room so we can spread our content and get it there. So I'm still thinking about it, but there will be a discussion at some point. I just have to discuss that with you, Adam, and Ben. But I think it'll be a great idea to spread our content, especially on Facebook, because we have TikTok, we have Instagram, but we don't have Facebook. And To be honest with you, there are more people that be on Facebook and Instagram, but I think the extra support from Facebook will be huge, and it'll also help our YouTube channel out as well, and possibly get more subscribers that way. So, um, but with all that being said, we appreciate y'all so much for getting us to 300 subscribers. I mean, 300 followers. I believe we're at 312 right now. We appreciate y'all. Supporting what we do, seeing the vision of what we're doing, and we hope that you like what we're doing because, like I said, this is all to support every single HBCU. We do not give out negative opinions about the HBCU, regardless of a rivalry, regardless of whatever. We're here for every single one, uh, every single one, student, president, uh, university, police department, whatever. We're here for every single HBCU campus. So and community. So if you don't even have to be a player, if you're just a fan that wants to come to the show and you are representing your HBCU, we don't mind having you either. This is for every single HBCU community and university player, athlete, coach, teacher, whatever. We're here to help every single one of you because if you're in that HBCU, you're part of HBCU family. So it doesn't matter your status of who you are. We are more than welcome to bring you on. But other than that, Deuce, I will say this: I appreciate y'all for so much for coming to our show, supporting what we do, and also collabing with us. Because there have been some HBCUs who collabed with us, so we appreciate y'all for trusting us and seeing the professionalism that we are doing in this HBCU platform and spreading it on our YouTube channel. Because yes, this is powered by Inside the Locker Room. This isn't just a separate YouTube channel. Everything that we do is powered by Inside the Locker Room. Inside the Locker Room is for all HBCUs. We are all for all HBCUs. Ben and Adam, even though they don't talk about HBCUs, but they have clearly showed their support in the comments with everything that we post that they are for HBCUs as well. So, like I said, Inside the Locker Room is for you. HBCU Central, Michael and Deuce, we are for you. And our last thing I will say, thank y'all so much for watching today's episode. Like Dude said, this is the earliest we've done this. We hope that you, like I said, enjoyed this show. And I will say this: pray for yourself, pray for yourself because there is a new strand going around this. I don't know if you've been aware of that. So
Yes.
as a student, and as a person myself, make sure that you are protecting your family members, your coworkers, whatever that may be. Protect your environment, but also protect yourself. And I pray that all of you don't catch whatever this new strain is. I found out about it yesterday from Facebook. So just protect yourself. Wash your hands. Continue to drink immune teas or whatever that is. Because I actually have a tea right here.
Clean up y'all's calendars and surfaces too. That's how y'all's doorknob surfaces clean. That's how stuff spread.
Yes. So just make sure that you are cleaning your area properly. I mean, it's so much going around that even one little area that you don't clean could possibly affect you. So just protect yourself. That's really all I can really say about that. I mean, I know this is kind of getting off topic, and we are at our close, but I will say this: just protect yourself because life is too short to be fooling around and not protecting yourself, and you end up in the hospital or worse end up in bed with a fever that you can't get out of. So just protect yourself. I don't want to see no one losing their life, whether it's a kid, adult, whatever. We need to protect each other, but we also need to take care of ourselves personally by taking our supplements and drinking all that in particular. So, on behalf of me Inside the Locker Room HBCU Central, we appreciate y'all so much for watching this show. Once again, I'll say it again. I know I've repeated it 2 times. I hope that you've enjoyed. And until next time, pray for yourself, pray for your community, but also make sure that you are protecting your community and protecting your household wherever you are living, watching this content. So I appreciate y'all. Grace and peace be upon you. And I pray that no one catches this new strand that is here among us. So on behalf of HCU Central, that's really all I got. I thought I had something else, but it totally slipped my mind. But Deuce, unless you have anything else, this, this, this is it. This is our close. We appreciate y'all. Grace, peace, be upon.
Thank y'all for watching.